Okay, he's a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. He's a European Games gold medalist. He's a Team GB Olympian, young amateur boxer of the year. He's got the best name in boxing, and he's come to the home of the heavyweights. Delicious Orie, lovely to meet you, sir.
It's good to see you.
Well, I'll say meet you.
I was going to say we've met a few times.
We've met, and the first time we met was 5 years ago, where I interviewed you in a gym. We stuck a Queensberry Promotions t-shirt on you, and here we are.
Here we are 5 years later. It was like it was written in the stars.
I think so. I think we've manifested this.
Yes,
Delicious.
we have. We had no idea, but we really did it deep down.
So this is big news. You are big news. You are the next heavyweight on the scene, ready to break out and make an impact. And you've chosen to come with Queensberry and Frank. Tell us why.
Rightfully so. Frank Warren knows how to build up their fighters. I'm all about building and making sure I get to the top properly. And Frank Warren is the man to do that.
I bet you're so excited to just get going there.
Very much so. As much as I loved the amateur game, it's been fantastic and I've learned so much. I mean, everything that I know about boxing. At the back of my mind, it was always this thing of being a professional fighter, boxer. So, yeah, it was always been on the back of my mind, you know, going out to these different tournaments. It was like, okay, how am I gonna improve as a fighter to then get me to the level of, you know, the likes of Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, as I progress over the years. And the amateur experience has put me in a very nice position to do that.
Was there any temptation to stay in the amateurs? Because I know you wanted to become an Olympic gold medalist. That hasn't happened. Was there like, shall I wait and do it next time? Or?
No, there wasn't. Because I'm aware boxing is a young man's sport. I'm 27 years old, so I'm aware that time is precious and I've got to make sure that I utilize it the best I can. As much as I love the amateur game and representing Great Britain, it was very important for me to move on and experience boxing as much as I possibly can, and that's not just the amateur background, but the professional as well. And here I am today, graduating into the professional sphere.
Do you feel ready, like fully, like mentally, physically, everything's all sort of coming together? You're 27 years old now, kind of peak heavyweight.
Yes, I feel like I'm in a very good position. Starting boxing at 18, I was very, very, you know, the usual, like, tall, lanky, didn't have much on me. And, you know, I was athletic, but I didn't have much, let's say, mass on me, and that over time gradually built up. So I believe I'm in a very good position now and very experienced enough to be able to take punches, and, you know, durable enough to basically face the best.
Talk to me a little bit about the Delicious story, beginning with the Delicious name. Where has this brilliant name come from?
So it's from my father. My dad, he called me Delicious. There's a couple of reasons. One, he's Nigerian. Nigerians, you know, it's quite a common thing. They call their kids quite interesting names. The likes of Precious and Blessing, Favour, etc. My dad just wanted to take it up another level. Call me Delicious, because I've never heard of another Delicious.
Neither have I. I've heard of Delius. I've heard Delius.
Yeah. So, and that will come to that. That's the second reason why my dad called me that, because Delius Kennedy was his favourite singer. You know, from I believe All for One.
All for One.
That's it. So he just put a twist on it and added that little bit of sauce.
That's good. Are you into that? All for One.
I mean, I listen to them.
Ballads.
Yeah, I mean, from time to time I listen to them. Reminds me of him, you know. He's still here with us, but it reminds me of him, you know, when I'm out there training and stuff like that.
I love that. Your dad, because I was watching a video of you walking around, I guess it must have been Wolverhampton with your parents. Your dad's hench. Your dad is built. He's ready to go as well.
Yeah. He lives a very disciplined life, and he did so. So for me, it was something, you know, I've always looked up to that discipline. Whether it was in school, you know, when I moved into the UK from the age of 7, I knew that I was going to go to university because it was instilled in me, like, education is everything. As well as that, you got to make sure when you go home, you do homework. And on top of that, I instilled this training part. And then naturally, I gravitated towards sport. through basketball, and over time it developed into boxing. But it was that discipline thing from my dad that's got me to the position I am today.
That's the Nigerian side, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's what makes it.
It's
Same
just
as
how it is.
on the Asian side as well. We get that as well. Make sure you do your studies. Make
Yes.
sure you complete your studies. That comes first. So that's where it comes from.
Yes, exactly.
So you were in Russia till you were what, eight years old, and
Yeah, 7. Yeah. So Russia's when I was 7. So I was just a standard Russian kid. Apart from that, I was half black.
yeah, you wouldn't have looked like a standard Russian kid out there.
I grew up there. Did a bit of nursery. Remember, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. It was difficult. It was hard. My mum and dad did the best they could to shield me from all the hardship that they were going through at the time, because they had it quite rough. And one of the main reason they decided to seek a better life here in the UK. And I knew that deep down as a child. So when I did move on here, it was I made it my mission to make sure I better not just my life, but the life of my parents. And here we are, 20 years later, 2 decades, doing the same thing.
And I guess as you get older, that's where you start looking back at those years and you think, God, they must have actually had it really hard. How would I have done? Having a young kid at that point, there would have been racism, there would have been all of that kind of stuff. So you must really appreciate what they went through.
Yeah, to have my mum move to an entirely different country at 23, maybe. I'm not sure on the age, but it was early 20s, let's say. Never spoken English. I mean, she's met my dad and she was learning, but she wasn't anywhere close to being fluent. And the UK is a completely different culture. So to make that decision they must have been going through some real hard times. For my mum to be able to leave her family, everything that she knows, to be able to move with her husband and come over to the UK. So whenever I look at her, I remember that, and I make sure that I will try my best to repay her, even though I know I never can.
That's amazing. So have you had moments as an adult in this position where you have been giving back?
Yes, very much so. Now I feel like I'm in a position to, so I have been giving back, and this is just the beginning. I'm going to get my mom and dad in a position where they can, they'll be able to live very, very good lives. Not that they're not living good lives now, but a little bit of a thank you from me, and that will all come. And this is the reason why the primary reason, the core of why I do what I do.
To repay your parents.
Exactly that. That's my driver, and my children whenever I have them. But my number one reason why I'm doing this is for my parents, no one else.
And your dad proper backed you, built a gym for you as well, right?
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. From when I started boxing, he just wanted me to do well. Back when I was at uni, times was hard. Wasn't getting paid through the amateur boxing side, having tried to go to university, studying. All university kids are broke. So that's where I was living. I was extra broke because I couldn't. I mean, I was working, but I wasn't working enough to be able to sustain myself. So he's always been supporting me from the beginning.
So, but boxing wasn't the first love, right? So it was basketball. You could have been a big time baller, right?
Yeah, basketball was the dream. I remember I started basketball. I was about 10. It was in year 6. I was in year 6, and I started basketball because of a basketballer called Luol Deng. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I'm not really big.
His name's Luol Deng, and he was a refugee from Sudan who came over to the UK. Again, I believe he was at 7 years old as well, actually.
Okay.
Some age like
if he can do it, I can do
exactly. I was 10 years old when I was thinking that. If he can do it, I can do it. Because he was, he went into the top in England. He moved over to America, went into the NBA, played for Chicago Bulls, etc. So at the time, it was like, right, this is what I'm doing. From 10 years old, I made sure that I studied. It wasn't like everything basketball, even though I was obsessed. It was making sure that I got the right grades. So I did that all the way through to the age of 18. Yeah.
And then another kind of light bulb moment where you decided you wanted to be a boxer.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I decided, I guess. It was a choice, but at the same time, it was a barrier, my first real barrier that I hit. I mean, I hit plenty of barriers growing up, having to learn the language very quickly in order to be able to do my studies correctly, because in order to get good grades, you need to be able to speak the language correctly, properly, fluently, get the grammar right to get good grades in English, for example. Maths I was pretty good at, but English, geography, history, all of that. So that was my first barrier. And then as we got to sort of the 16, 17 mark, it was like, right, what are you going to do next with your life? You've always wanted to be a basketballer. You can go out to America. I had a lot of my mates who want to go out there for scholarships, etc. But I was hit with that barrier where you can't go to America, because at the time I didn't hold a UK passport.
Okay, right.
So, and not just that, it was you couldn't get into university and get student finance funding.
But you did go to uni, so how did you?
Yeah, so again, it was a big barrier, and I thought to myself, right, I can't play basketball, I can't go to university. Right, I'm gonna make sure I work and fund myself and get into university. I'm gonna break through that barrier. I'm gonna have to do it, because this is what I promised myself since I was 7 years old. I'm going to university and I'm getting a first-class degree. So I was working jobs, McDonald's. Don't know if I can say brand names here.
Go for it.
Sports Direct, etc., etc. Warehouse jobs, bouncer, security, just everything, anything I can possibly do in order to get myself some cash to put forward and get myself an education.
So at the same time, you're working multiple jobs?
Yes, I had 3-4 jobs.
To fund your university?
To fund my university, I had to pay 11 grand every year to fund myself. And on top of that, that's when I found boxing. So it was about 2016. I just finished my A-levels. I had really good grades in order to get me into university, but unfortunately I wasn't able to because of a document which was completely out of my fault, out of my control. So as a result, I had to just work. I had to work it out, and over time, I was able to get the money for the year, and that's when I found boxing at the same time. It was a mixture of different emotions I was going through at the time. It was anger. Mm-hmm. It was this need, to do well, and not doing well, no matter how hard I worked. So I worked even harder. So for me, I gave absolutely everything to what I could. And boxing, I seen Anthony Joshua being reported on actually the day after his Charles Martin win.
When he won the world title. Yeah.
Never heard of the man before. Didn't know who he was. He was a good-looking man.
Sure.
He was a big man, and he was an inspiration to me straight away. Never, the way he carried himself inside the ring, outside the ring. There was a professionalism about him that I absolutely loved, that spoke to me through the television. I knew who Mike Tyson was. I knew who, likes of David Haye, amazing fighters, didn't inspire me. They're just boxers in my mind. Seeing Anthony Joshua, who's this professional guy who carried himself very professionally inside and outside the ring in 2016, I like that. I want to emulate that and be like that. I don't care how hard the training is, just get me in a boxing gym. What did he do? He went to the Olympics. Yeah, I'll do that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how I do it. I just want to do it, and that's how it began. Again, I was sort of in a legal battle with student finance, and they eventually granted me the opportunity to educate myself. Be in education.
But it was a fight. It was a fight that you had to go through.
Yeah. So it took a good few months, and I was able to then go to university funded, and of course be able to chase that boxing career.
Do you know what's standing out here is that you've had various moments of hardship and barriers in your life where you've had to come through it. You've been told no, you can't get a student loan. No, you can't go to the Olympics. You can't do this, you can't do that. But here you are, you keep breaking through the barriers, and I guess that's very much the aim when you become a professional.
Yes, I have to give it to the people that I've met at the time. I put myself in positions where I was able to meet good people that were able to help me out. And I just made sure that no matter what it is that came my way, it was like I was relentless. No matter what I go through as a professional fighter, I don't think I would go I don't think I'll go through what I went through between the age of 18 and say 22, 23, because that was completely a gamble and risk.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how hard you worked, you may not still be able to get it because of a huge proportion of exterior things, let's say. So I'd say that's probably the hardest chunk of my life. So this part of my professional or of my boxing career is the fun part, and is the part where I've been able to reap all the rewards from all the years of hard work. And I just have to show people I've got everything now. I can't complain. I'm getting paid. I've got a fantastic coach. I've got an amazing manager. I've got the best promotion in the world. How can I not do well? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. Before, I had no education. I had no money. I had nothing, absolutely nothing, and I still did it. How can I not succeed?
How can you not succeed? Well, listen, and we're looking forward to seeing you succeed. I did have concerns we'd lost you to the WWE, though. Well, I started reading all these reports saying Delicious Orie is going to become a wrestler. What's going on there?
So after the Olympics, I was given an opportunity to go out to Florida in the Performance Center for the WWE, basically just telling me, look, you can, see what it's like and potentially become a WWE superstar, with a bit of work. Of course, WWE is completely different to boxing, but they are aware of the discipline that we have to get to get to the level of being an Olympic boxer. So for me, it was, of course, I want to go down there and have a look. For me, it was just having a look and just seeing what the wrestling world is about. WWE is the biggest, let's say, entity in the entertainment industry. It's massive. So I know I definitely learned a thing or two over there in terms of how to be able to sell yourself, express yourself in a way, whatever it is you're feeling.
Did you have to do promos?
I did have to do a little bit of promos. Yes, I had to.
What sort of things were you saying?
They gave me a few prompts, and what I think was absolutely fantastic over there, and that's the difference between, I'll say, the athletes here and athletes over there. Americans tend to have this tendency anyway, but you can speak to any of the wrestlers over there, any of the athletes, and just give them a prompt, give them a scenario, put a camera in their face, and they'll nail it. And that's because of the natural charisma and the talent that they have. I say natural, some of them would have worked on it, but that's the biggest thing that stood out to me, is this thing of they're really able to express themselves and sell themselves. And it was like, this is what I need in order to be able to basically show people what I'm about. I'm not this, I'm not gonna pretend it's really who I am, but it's just making sure that I express myself correctly to as many people as possible.
So I would hope that you're going to be good at a press conference then, when we get going. If you've got someone giving you a little bit of jip, you're going to start grabbing the mic and all of that.
They say in wrestling, I've learned that there's a heel and a baby face.
Correct.
I didn't know that what that was before, but it was a heel and a baby face. So
Which one are you?
You're either a bad guy. Look, and they said there's two options. You can either be a completely different character to who you are. So you actually can be an actual good guy and be a bad guy. Or you can actually be a bad guy and be a good guy. Or you can be yourself, but exaggerated.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be myself and exaggerate. That's easier, isn't it? That's easier.
It's easier, yeah. But you see, like Derek Chisora, he wanted to be a heel essentially because he wanted to get that kind of heat.
I'll be honest, it's gonna be hard to be a bad guy. To be fair, I'm too nice.
Nice.
I want people to get on.
Way too nice. You want people to get on, and also I'm not sure how many bad guys listen to ABBA before they sort of go out and have a fight. Tell me about that. I saw a headline about ABBA loving Olympia.
Yeah, the main reason, fantastic music. The main reason for me is what it means from a sort of like a proper sentimental place. My dad would always listen to it when I was growing up in Russia, even early years here in the UK. So it just reminded me of what my parents had to go through at that specific point in time, say sort of between like 7 and 13. And I just took a liking to it. And every time I hear it, it gets me going.
Any particular numbers?
I like Winner Takes It All.
That would be the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, I'm having debates with my management. I'm having a few back and forths, but I'm going to make it happen. That's going to be my entrance music. We're gonna mix it up a little bit, but
Find a bit
I
of
want
dancing
that.
queen. Give me a bit of dancing.
Yeah. We'll see what the crowd are saying.
Yeah.
But winner takes it all. That's hopefully we can push that through.
What's the dream, Delicious?
The dream is to, number one, make sure I look after the people around me, my mum and dad. Number two, heavyweight champion of the world. Make people aware that I'm here and I might be a nice guy, but in the ring is different. And also, number three is to inspire as many people as possible. Make them believe, just that kid at 10 years old who's moved to the country at 9, who can't speak a word of English. If you work hard, I promise you can get it. I promise you. Like I like to think that I've kind of proved it and I'm proving it. That's my number one, my number three thing, but they're all very, very close together. Because as much as the belts are very important to me, what am I leaving after? And what am I improving to? What am I giving back to this world? I collect a belt. Am I giving anything back to this world? Maybe, but I improve a kid's life. I'm giving back to this world. So these are the three things that are most important to me, and these are the things that's gonna make me look an opponent dead in the eye, and I will go. I will give everything till my last breath in that ring. So that's my why.
So excited about your journey. Been lovely speaking to you today, Delicious Orie.
Thank you very much, Dev.
The new one. Come on.